There we go. Thought we were going to have some trouble loading this shit up. Uh, Went to church today. Had a good day with that. Hope y'all went to church today. And if not, you ought to. Hell's awful hot this time of year. I meant to come on a little bit earlier. Maybe having a microphone in front of my face ought to help. Ended up taking a nap for a couple hours. Didn't mean to. Just kind of conked out. Was watching some Graham Hancock. Not the movie. I said Graham Hancock. He's we did that show on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. I like alternative theories of alternative history and alternative anything. I just don't like the mainstream people telling me what to think and do. Well, West Virginia guy 56, you waste no time. The Big 12 should go for the kill shot for the pack. They're going to. I'll explain that here in a minute. We're just getting warmed up here, West Virginia guy. It says it's going to be a super long live stream today. Unfortunately, I slipped through some shit I was supposed to do. So I got to get that done. But I figure before we do, let me take care of some obligations and throw some entertainment out there for you guys. Hopefully it's entertaining. You know, I'm being presumptive there. Maybe I suck today. I don't know. Either way, having today's a blessing. Remember that. Remember that. This punk on YouTube told you that you were blessed today. And you are. We're breathing, aren't we? You know, the meteor hadn't hit yet. Joe Biden hadn't outlawed breathing for this, you know, or had us all eating bugs and stuff instead of actual meat, which is coming. Get a little tinfoil hat on you guys. Yeah. They're going to have us eating bricks of bugs. And keep all the steak for themselves. That's what evil people do. Yeah, but that Graham Hancock series, it's a rabbit hole because that series only just scratches the surface of what that guy's talking about. You're talking about Atlantis. You're talking about, you know, ancient, possible forgotten about civilizations during the Ice Age. All kinds of crazy stuff, man. And there's some rudimentary evidence for all that. It's pretty neat stuff, man. Really get into it. Well, where should I start? Where should I start? Well, how about this? How about we start here? We'll start with Fox gives the Big 12 the go-ahead for two teams. One of them is Colorado. So now there's only room for one. How true is that? Well, according to Greg Flugar, he believes the Fox will give money for whoever in the pack to come over, you know, within reason. Four Corners, Oregon, Washington, yeah. I'm kind of agree with that. I think it is a little bit of a ploy put out there by Brett Yormark to entice people to hurry the hell up. And what a better way to do it? You got it worked out for two teams. If there's a third or a fourth, we're going to have to go back to Fox and find out, what they're cool with. I've kind of heard similar things with ESPN, like, yeah, that pro rata only covers 4. It's not like a forever pro rata. It's only for a certain number of teams. And as long as they're, Power 5, it's fine. But, like, it's not, you can't go get 10. Can't go get 10 teams on the pro rata. So I've heard that too. So there's things that have been bandied about here which feel like it's kind of putting a little extra pressure on some of those schools. So I think that is Yormark a little bit trying to increase that pressure. Same thing with Arizona and Washington. There's some smoke about them coming to the Big 12, and I think that smoke has been, a little smoke bomb has been lit and thrown out there by those two teams to try to pressure the Big 10 to hurry up and say yes. So everyone has little ways to play the media and try to get what they want. So I don't have any problems with any of that. Maybe you do. Maybe you do, but I don't. It's part of business. It's you use perception to make reality. So if you can put it out there where there's a perception of something happening, because you're trying to push a reaction to become reality. So it's all good business, and I ain't worried about it. I think the Big 12 is smart for doing that. I think Oregon and Washington are smart for doing that. And there is also some consternation about Oregon and Washington coming to the Big 12. Saw Coos and Greg Flugar. They did a show together. Good show. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both those guys separately, so we put them together. It's pretty good stuff. Well, they kind of got into the Oregon and Washington, and true enough, our commissioner did say, and I fully support, that they only want teams that are here that are going to be committed to the Big 12 and excited to be in the Big 12. Yeah, I totally get that. But when it comes to an Oregon and Washington, I think you might make a few exceptions, and I think they would be excited to be in the Big 12 for a little while. I think, some of the excitement that's here might rub off, I don't think they'll see it as a, what do you call that? Purgatory. I don't think they'll see it as purgatory where they can get into the good place afterwards. No, because if they come here, they won't have any guarantees or anything about the Big 10. So I think they'll be grateful to have a spot where they can land and make some money and be okay for a while and get the exposure they need and yada, 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 until they find a definite answer from the Big 10 eventually. According to Greg Flugar, that Fox does want them in the Big 10 very much, but the Big 10 is hesitant on it. And ultimately, that will be up to the Big 10, whether they ever add Oregon and Washington. And they may add them tomorrow. I don't know. But just saying. And Greg Flugar, he seems to think, kind of like me, that Arizona will make a decision by next week. I think it's coming quick. Now, were they behind where Colorado is? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I think they've gotten some ducks in a row. I think they've talked plenty amongst themselves about what to do. And they may have even talked about, hey, what if Colorado does leave before everybody else and before we see the numbers on a possible deal? Because now that Colorado's gone, whatever possible offer that could have been out there from an Apple because that's the only one that's really throwing out offers right now. Whatever deal there could have been, well, that number's coming down now. You know, there's going to be some restructure of that deal. And people really need to stop talking about San Diego State to the Pac. It's not happening. No Mountain West school is going to be able to go and pay $34 million. And the Pac's broke. All right. Now they've lost a third team. They're going to lose a fourth team. They can't afford to pay $34 million. Ain't happening. So, good luck on that. Now, they can add Rice. Maybe SMU, because SMU will, you know, they got a lot of money apparently. You know, they can pay whatever they need to pay. But that's who you're backfilling with. Unless you want to do a year where you're playing as a 8-team conference or a 16 conference. It may come to that too. Think about that crap. It can absolutely come to that. Where they're playing 1 year, you know, as like a 6, 7, 8-team conference. I mean, what a joke that would be, right? That's what they're looking at. Black rain. Oregon and Washington sound to me like Texas and Oklahoma. Why go through another situation of giving special treatment for a brand? I think it's a little different than Texas. And I totally get the consternation of that. To me, it's about killing off the Pac and killing them off for good. That is the real kill shot. Is Oregon. And by the way, if it's the Big Ten that gets them and does that, I am perfectly cool with that. As long as they're out of that conference, there is no autonomous there's no autonomous branding or whatever for the Pac-12 or Pac-9, Pac-8, Pac-7, whatever Pac bullshit, the 6-pack. They're done. They're done at that point. Now, I mean, we're going to find out pretty shortly how it's all going to fly out once Arizona leaves. Because that's 2 schools. Now you're down to 8. And you can't backfill with the best options. One of the best options, the best option is San Diego State, but you can't get them for 2024. So, major problem. Major problem. Pac-12 farewell season 2023. Goodbye, Pac-12. That is true. I'm going to track this last year with the Pac. All right. I have a point system I use because I don't like the fact that, you know, right now in college football, we're using people's opinions. All right. Like it's figure skating or diving, Olympic diving or something like that. You know, and everyone's writing down their little score, their opinion of how it should be. No, it shouldn't be about opinion. So I got a point system that I've been developing over the last several years, and I'm going to use that to kind of show you who's 1 through 14 in the Big 12, who's 1 through 10 in the Pac, and who's 1 through, I guess, 13, 14 in the ACC. And then I'm going to show you what conference is doing what when you compare all 3. I'm not worried about the big 2 conferences right now. Once we scale down the conference, once we, you know, like next year, once the Pac is essentially dead, then I'll probably start tracking more with what the Big 12 is doing comparable to, or not the Pac, what the Big 12 is doing comparable to the Big 10 and the SEC. And probably the ACC as well. But when you're doing a point system, and it's hard to do for like a whole season because you're doing every FBS team, right? To do it properly, you do every freaking Division I team. That's a lot of teams. That's a lot of games. I'll be in here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, tallying up all the points of each single game, and then whatever teams gained or lost points, win or loss, you know, and then come up with my top 25. That's That's a bitch to do. I was going to do that this year. I'm like, God, because it's so hard to do for one person to do all that work for one video that probably 20 people would care to watch. So I'm like, screw that. I'm just going to do a Big 12 centric one and then do our two biggest rivals and then compare those. I think that'll work better. It'll be less work for me. Let's put it that way. Immaculate. Hey there, Numbskull. What's up, Immaculate? Thanks for being here, man. If they don't get back to 10 teams, they can't hold a championship game. Yeah, I don't have no idea how that works. Yeah, I mean, I guess they can have a championship, but I don't know, because like the Big 12, what was that? That year we had, whatever the title of the season was, like one clear champion, and we had like two because the Big 12 didn't play a title game. I think we had 10, 12 teams back then, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It would be weird to try to do it with 9. Yeah, that wouldn't work out. At least you wouldn't think so. Dwayne, good evening. What's up, dude? Immaculate, oh damn, you are touching upon the subject that I feel most strongly about. The old ranking system that they came up with to get that media to give a damn about college football. That has to go. True. That's true. Because when you get 12 teams in a playoff, it shouldn't be someone's opinion. And I hate that crap. And I don't care how many games they watch. They can't watch them all. There's no way to watch them all. The only right way to do it is to have a scientific point system, which I have been for myself. Because look, college football was like doing nothing for me for years because of that kind of shit. So I'm like, okay, I want to be able to enjoy this in my own way. And I'm a dork enough to where, like, I developed my own damn point system. And I would come out, I would have my own top 25. Wasn't sharing it with anybody. All right? I didn't even have a YouTube channel back then. I was just doing it just so I can get some kind of joy out of college football because it was pissing me off. The BCS system sucked. The college football playoff, I like it a lot more, even though it's only 4 teams right now. At least it's 4. But I can't stand the fact that it's still people's opinion, even though it's a large group of people. And I think by and large they get it right. I really do. There are times they don't. Like there was one year, it was several years ago. UCF had went undefeated. Now I know what you're saying. Hear me out. I did the point system, for that whole season. And when I got to my final 4, UCF was the 4th team. They may have been higher than that. Clemson, now in the actual real world playoff, they got to the playoff. They got it. They were one of the final 4 schools. So the committee had 3 of the ones I had, but I didn't have Clemson. I had UCF. And it wasn't because I'm a big fan of UCF or nothing else. They actually earned it. They actually out-earned Clemson that year in points because the entirety of the ACC sucked balls. It's one thing if you can go and you can knock off, because in my point system, you get more points when you knock off rated teams. Top 25 rated teams, the higher they are, the more points you get for that. Clemson that year played nobody. Nobody was rated in the top 25, at least according to my list, because I do the entire FBS, especially that year I did. And so I have my own top 25 every week. Now, UCF played like 2 or 3 different, rated teams. Not super highly rated, but not super high up in the top 25. So they didn't get a lot of extra points for that. They did get extra points for that. They got extra points for being undefeated. I think the way my system rewards, it's like you get like a 10-point bonus for going undefeated for the regular season. And then, because nobody ever, in mine, a conference championship game, no one ever loses points for conference championship games. All right, only the winner gets those extra points. And the problem with Clemson that year was they played nobody. They were like a top, I want to say somewhere inside the top 5, maybe top 2 schools. Because when I started out, I used the AP poll top 25, right? And Clemson was way the hell up there. And early in the season, they lost to a nobody. They lost to like a jack shit team that wasn't even, wasn't even a top 25 team. They lost. Matter of fact, I don't even think they were a Power 5 school. They were probably a Group of 5 school they lost to, I'm pretty sure. So when I do my point system, for all the points you can gain by beating someone who's highly rated like that, you lose a shit ton. And I mean a shit ton of points for losing to a team there's no way in hell you should lose to, especially at home, and you're like the number 2, 3 team in the country, and you're losing to, whoever, Marshall, you lose an ass ton of points. And it's hard to come back from that unless you're playing other rated teams. And Clemson never played anybody that year. Now, everyone they played in their own conference in the ACC sucked. So it was a narrow margin, though. It was like, I think I had UCF like maybe 7, 8, 10 points above Clemson, but I had them above them. And I thought, I'll stand by that in my own head. But see, that's the drama that goes on in my head. I'm like, ooh, it's dorky shit, but that's what I do. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. West Virginia got 56. Will the Pac-12 ever get a TV deal? No. They may still one day get an Apple deal, a streaming deal for, maybe if they, merge with the Mountain West, whatever's left of the Pac merges with the Mountain West, then they'll have a deal. It's probably the best way to answer that. Black Rain, I see your point. I feel they'll die off without a contract anyway. Arizona State leaves, game over. Yeah, if you get both Arizona schools, it's definitely a game over there. Immaculate, get rid of the arbitrary ranking system of old and make a system with conference playoffs so that only results matter. That's what I'm saying. You got a 12-team playoff. Let's have a point system to determine that. I mean, you got, 12 teams that play for the Stanley Cup in hockey, and that's a point system, isn't it? Isn't it? Works for them. It works for them. Now, look, with the NFL, it's strictly wins and losses, and whoever the division champ is automatically got a spot in the playoff. And I still don't know if they're going to do something like that where, the winner, the Big Ten champ is automatically in, the SEC champ automatically in, ACC champ automatically in, Big 12 champ automatically in. I don't know if it's going to work like that or not. I wouldn't have a problem with that. If that's the automatic bid type of thing, which they probably will do. But you damn well know, the rest of the spots are going to be filled up by people's opinion. And that drives me up the wall because there's a lot of teams that are going to have identical records. But the perception, right? The perception is, well, these opponents were better than those couple of opponents. Why were they better? Oh, well, their overall average, yada, yada. I'm like, oh, okay. But what about these opponents? But those opponents may have been more highly rated, but maybe there was more injuries and, things of that nature. Right? It's never like they explain it. It's never truly is how they explain it. It's like when Clemson that like the year I can't remember the year, but the year I'm talking about when they made the postseason, when I thought it should have been UCF that made the postseason. Not that I thought, this is according to the points, they earned it. The story was, well, Clemson can win it all. Well, okay. I mean, no doubt they could have. They were just an insanely talented team. But does what okay, we know they're that talented and all that. It's not about that, it's what you earn, right? It's what you earn. And if you don't have the opponents, to me, and your conference is way down, because for many years, I would say for 4 or 5 years, the American was better than the ACC. It was just more competitive, more compelling, more fun. The teams were overall better. Yeah, you had one team in Clemson that was, for a couple of years there was a juggernaut, but the other smaller schools in the American were, like the Cincinnati's, the UCFs, the Houstons, the Tulanes. Hell, Eastern Carolina had some nice years. Hell, Navy had a couple good years in there too. I'm leaving somebody out. Memphis was pretty good for some of the years I'm thinking of. Yeah, I mean, there was several years where the American was just a better conference. All right, all right, all right. Sorry guys, trying to find where the hell I am. Dabo Sweeney, 805 winning percentage. All right, if the Big 12 adds Gonzaga, why not add Boise State for football only? Then Boise State's other sports can replace Gonzaga in WCC. I am sure you would only have to pay Boise a 25-30% share. Well, that's some complicated ass thinking. That's rough thinking. Never thought about that, Dabo. And you got me puzzled there, dude. I don't even. It's like a Frankenstein team coming to Gonzaga basketball, Boise football. All right, that's like I said, that's some heavy thinking, dude. But I don't know. Let's. I say we concentrate on Arizona first. That's what I think, dude. Before we get into some Frankenstein monster of a deal there, I don't know. Let's see what happens with the ACC. Let's go get Uconn. Let's do that first. But that's creative as shit. That's creative. Immaculate. As for the rules on championship games, the rules changed for the Big 12 when you dropped to 10 teams. So the new rule became 10 teams and divisions aren't necessary anymore. Gotcha. So you need to have 10. Okay. Well, Rice, Tulane, UTSA may not. You may not have a shot at UTSA if you're the Pac. But maybe. But Rice, Tulane, I think, yeah, maybe. The before mentioned Eastern Carolina, Temple. Temple's a Tulsa. Get into that Oklahoma market if you're the Pac. Why not? Immaculate. The rule is okay. Big Ten, SEC are now going with no. Okay, that rule is how the Big Ten and the SEC are going with no divisions. Okay. Yeah, I never really liked their divisions either. Like the SEC divisions, I didn't like that shit because it was like, everybody on it'd be the West division, the Alabama division. That was a murder. That was a bitch. And then the Eastern division to me, it felt a little easier. It felt like not as bad, right? And then they were just really great years where I don't think you really got the preferred matchup in the SEC because of that, how that works. So I'm glad they're doing away with that and just go with the best two, regardless of wherever they are in the SEC. divisions. Immaculate. But without a new change of rules, Pac can't hold a championship game with less than 10 teams, and they aren't eligible for the AQ positions in the CFP, which are for top 4 conference champions. Okay, like the at-large stuff. Oh, well, I don't know if it's the at-large. Whatever you call it. Son of a bitch. Shit gets confusing at times. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, they're screwed, Immaculate. That's we'll say it like that. Arturo Balderas, what's up, dude? Since they're going to be a 12-team playoff, do you think this will force Notre Dame to join a conference? Don't know why if they can get in. If they can get in, if they have a road in, I don't know why they would force them to do anything. P4 champs get auto bids. Top-ranked G6 champs get auto bids. And SEC Big Ten split the at-large seeds. Even with more teams, something's telling me with the more complication, it's just going to piss me off more, Arturo. No, I think as long as Notre Dame can get in, they ain't joining nothing. All right, Dabo. Clemson hasn't lost to a group of 5. That I don't know who it was they lost to. Excuse me, shit. This was a while back ago though. It was a while back. It was shit. There was a back-to-back undefeated. UCF was undefeated 2 years in a row. I want to say it was the first year, maybe. One of those 2 years. They lost to somebody that was not rated in the top 25, and Clemson was like 2 or 3. Yeah, so I thought that was some shit. George Van, I don't see why the top 4 teams get a bye in the first round of the new playoff system. Well, that's because I think it's because you have to, right? Because let's do the math. 8, 4, that's 12. So 4 teams play 4 teams, and the bottom 8 leaves you with 4 teams. Then the next week, the other 4 come around. For the bracket, it works out. So that's why. Now, if you're going to do a 16-team playoff, then I believe you can just, 4, that's how it would work, right? Yeah. Then nobody would get a week off then. You might as well have 16 teams involved instead of 12. More TV money, and number 1 through number 4 should beat 13 through 16. In football, it's not always a sure thing. You can say they should. Yeah, that they would, they would be favored, in Vegas and whatever. But football, it's not. Even in basketball with 1 game, it's not a sure thing. So, Immaculate, it's not top 4 teams, it's top 4 rated conference champions. The conferences want to promote their champions, so you have AQ buys. What the hell is it? I'm going to feel real stupid here, Immaculate. What does AQ mean? But I see what you're saying. Okay, I didn't realize that's how it was going to work. The top 4 conference champions. Gotcha. That. Well, see, we don't need the pack for that, do we? Let's bump it right the hell on out of there. Oh, that works for me. That means the Big 12 champ always gets a bye. Woo! Love that. Love that. Man, imagine that last year. Kansas State would have had a bye. And TCU would have to keep on playing. That's crazy. Dabo Sweeney, 16 in NHL. Well, shit. It is. It is. Anthony Palika. At this point, the pack deserves it. Yeah. AAR, what's up, dude? If Oregon Ducks don't go to the Big 12, they stay there. No, I mean, Big 10 is lurking out there. We'll see if they move. Arizona sources keep saying ASU is possible for the Big 12 package deal. Yeah, that is a possibility. It's hard for me to come up with that word right now. It's embarrassing. AAR, people who down on Uconn to the Big 12 conference. Currently, interesting development. Or down on Uconn to the. Yeah, I've heard some of that. Like people are like, yeah, I don't know if you want to go with Uconn, dirty G5, Well, I don't know. It's one of the greatest basketball names out there is Uconn. The current champ. They've been current champs. They've won many times. The women's is the greatest women's team ever in Uconn. So understandable with the football. A little apprehensive about football, but keep in mind we're all excited that 1-11 Colorado is coming in. So you got a problem with a 6-6 Uconn? Seems a little weird. Yeah, I know they've sucked for a while, but so is Uconn. So is Colorado. But it is Coach Prime. It is Coach Prime, and I think things are about to turn around there. But hell, things are turning around for Uconn. So see what I'm saying? Come on. Don't tell me about sucky football. If we're going to bring in Arizona, we're bringing in Colorado, Arizona State. That's a lot of sucky football, guys. Just because they're classified in a Power 5, a Pac Power 5 at that. Immaculate. Sorry, AQ equals auto qualifier. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Immaculate. I saw that. Had to go down there and see that. Appreciate that. So now I know a little something. Immaculate. So yeah, talking to Dabo. I don't know if that idea is possible about Gonzaga Boise, but that's some pretty good thinking. I don't know if it's good. It's definitely kind of evil. Kind of evil thinking, if you ask me. Jeff Woodworth, Big 12 will only take more than one more Pac team. If Oregon and Washington say yes at the full share, anyone else would be partial. Well, I don't know how true that is, Jeff, but it could be. Could be. Things are, how would you say, swirling in a certain, swirling. It's like the information is kind of in a washing machine right now. AAR, they've got nowhere else to go at this point. At this point, yeah. Unless the Big Ten, spread their legs and say, come on, big boy. Melvin Darkies, the Pac nonsense wrecked the Pac. Yeah, but I do like us kind of pushing it down a little bit. The thought of that. And I did like the thumbnail with old Anne Hathaway doing her best Saturday Night Live impression of that. Jeff Woodworth, ESPN and Fox doesn't want divisions. SEC is tired of Bama versus Georgia every 3 years, while the Big Ten gets OSU versus Michigan every year. Well, yeah. It just needs to be the best two teams, regardless. That's the proper way to do it for a conference. Let's see, S. Car Cheer. S.E. Cheer. S. Car Cheer. How's that? The Big 12 needs to be aggressive with the Pac schools and take 5 more schools if the media partners will pay for them. That's the big question. This is the opportunity that doesn't happen very often. I wouldn't waste it. I get what you're saying there. 5 more. Well, the rest of the four corners, and yeah, okay. That would cover everybody we want, wouldn't it? So, could happen. I think if Oregon and Washington is part of that, the media partners will probably pay for that. Ken Rivera. Anyone else miss Golden Blue Dude this week? He would have been going crazy with wild scenarios. He would have. It would have been fun. And you know what? Speculate away this week. I mean, Colorado comes. Oh, anything. You know, Minnesota Vikings are coming to the Big 12. Real Madrid is coming to the Big 12. Speculate away at this point. That would have been good to see. I think from what I saw, I think everybody really thought about Golden Blue Dude when that popped off. Little smile from heaven. S cards here. They lost to West Virginia 70-33. AAR, Kliakov really thought he could force networks to pay $40 to $50 million. I don't even know about force. I think he just thought that's what they could get. Hey, the Big Ten got a raise. Why aren't we getting a raise? Hey, dumbass, you don't have USC. You don't have LA. You don't have Southern California. And you want a raise. Sounds like a member of a union to me. That was low, especially as I'm a member of a union myself. As cards here, yep, but this is happening now. The ACC thing is still a maybe. True. AAR, I assume he thought nobody would ever find out. I missed a couple by Woodworth. Okay. S cards here. They have to pick up the rest of the ACC the Big Two don't want. Kleoff didn't read the room. And the ACC thing is still maybe. The ACC thing is not a maybe. That's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. I think there's too many reasons for it to happen than not. I think there's too many people that want it to happen than not. This is why Florida State is like pitching a fit. This is why they're, burning their shed down. They got the tools out, but they're burning it down, creating smoke. Because you got to get, in order for any team to get out there, you got to get ESPN on board to help you make that happen. Because they own the distribution rights. FSU is signed up for that. And even if you pay a $150 million exit fee out of the ACC, you're going to owe ESPN and the ACC a shit ton of money for content. Even if you go and play in the SEC, guess what? You're not going to make one penny on that for a good while. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money going. And so you got to get ESPN going. So in order to get them going, you got to, lawsuits, blah, 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 you got to stomp around, throw a fit. Maybe you'll get something your way. Altura Balderas, I'm glad you see UTSA potential. They have a very large living alumni base, and once they are ready for the big time, I think people will be pleasantly surprised on how well they travel. I don't got nothing against San Antonio, man. I'm proud of that team for doing what they're doing. I think they're going to go into the American and wreck some shops, what I think. That's what I think. AAR, you damn right. UTSA is coming. Jeff Woodworth, ACC thing isn't a maybe. It's next. I think that's correct. AAR? Okay. Sam. Dabo. Who cares? They beat Bama twice for the Natty. No one else can say that. Yeah. I don't know what team you're. Maybe talk about Georgia. Oh. Or or you're talking about Clemson. Oh, to the name, isn't it? Dabo. Good. AR Oregon Ducks are out. They will be. Escar cheer, yep, but the ACC thing may not happen for years. We can still add teams if that happens. If the media partners will pay for it, we can go to 20. Ooh, I don't know about going to 20 right now. I don't know about that. Going to 16, that seems a little more viable. A little more viable. I don't know about anybody else. I do want Uconn. I do want Uconn. I'm kind of all in on Uconn. I think they bring too much. When you're trying to maximize your dollar in basketball, you want that brand. And if it's true that the women's side of things is popping off and getting more and more valuable, then come on. That's the most valuable women's team out there. So why wait? Jeff Woodworth, you just don't want to be too big. It will dilute out the payments at some point. Somewhat it will. I still think 24 is the floor for this conference. I think you're going to get to 24 teams. And here's the thing. You can't overly worry about dilution, because if you're making what the Big Ten and the SEC are making, you got to worry about that a lot more because, you make a lot, you're worried about not spending a lot or not losing a lot. The Big 12 makes good money right now, but you got to gear everything towards 2031. Now, the more teams you have, you can still make a lot for the conference, but it's going to get split up in a lot more different ways. And partially that's okay. So you will doom yourself to never catching the Big Ten and the SEC financially, but that's fine. The conference can make close to what they make eventually. Maybe. Maybe. Per team wise, you won't. But you have to be that best of the rest conference. You just do. In football. Basketball, you got to be the big raging juggernaut in basketball, or it's just not going to work. That's the plan. That's what you got to be. You got to be the best in basketball. You got to be a fun and exciting brand of football. Parity ruling the day. In football, it's not about the brands. Basketball, it is about the brands. That's how you have to focus it when you're talking the Big 12. That's the only way it's going to work. Now, I think we're destined to be the number 3 conference anyway, but you got to get there and I think we're kind of already there, but you really got to solidify it. Solidify it long term, where you're right there and you're at the heels of the Big 2. And you're there for the long term, for the long haul. And you got the brands, you got the content that the big TV companies need, the big streamers will eventually need. So everyone's going to have to do business with you. They can't do you like the pack and lowball you and move around you. No. You got to have the content. You got to have these games. Because Ohio State and Michigan aren't going to play every week. That's once a year, folks. Georgia and Alabama can't play every week. Texas and OU can't play every week. USC and Penn State or Michigan State, they can't play every week. You need, it's just not going to happen. So you need all the smaller matchups in and around those big ones to have that content, to have good lead-ins for those games and good outros for those games. That's what the Big 12 offers. That's what the Big 12 will offer in perpetuity. Not sure where I was going with all that, but let's see. Dabo Sweeney. Uconn football only averages 22,000 attendance. Don't care. So every single team that goes to play at Uconn will lose money. I think if Uconn is playing Oklahoma State, if they're playing West Virginia, if they're playing Cincinnati, they're playing bigger schools, you're going to have a bigger attendance. And by the way, their attendance is up. All of a sudden they start winning, the attendance goes up. See that around the country for a lot of schools. So that doesn't discourage me at all. Why? I'm willing to put up with some bad numbers, maybe a little poor performance from football, with that level of basketball, that huge level of basketball. Hold on. Would you take Duke? Would you take Duke in the Big 12? Because Duke ain't shit in football. They're not. That's a basketball school, and they're legendary. You would take them all day long. I would. And the only real difference is Duke is in a G5 right now. That's the only difference. Uconn was once upon a time a G5 school. The Big East was once something. It was really something at one point. So to me, there's no difference between Duke and Uconn, other than I think Uconn's been better in the past in football, believe it or not. Let's see. AAR, they say Oregon Ducks, other sports don't want to travel on the Big 12 conference money. Well, that's their problem. Oh, no, they'll be able to. A lot of that whole other sports travel thing, a lot of that shit is like meets and stuff like that. Track and field is a lot of meets, so a lot of teams get a lot of different schools and their track and field come to one place, coalesce someplace and have a meet. I mean, you're not going to travel halfway across the country for one 40-meter dash and then fly back. You're not doing all that. So a lot of those sports work that way, where it's a large grouping of schools at one time facing each other. Baseball, you can play 2-3 games in a row. So, again, not as big a deal. Basketball, that's where it gets a little tough. Basketball can be a little tough sometimes. But since that is a revenue sport, they can overcome it. All right. S. Carch here. I care because I'm a West Virginia fan. And you should care. Yeah, I wouldn't add Uconn for football either. Well, do you want Eastern teams? Do you want easier travel as a West Virginia fan? Because I've heard a lot of bitching from West Virginia fans about travel. I can't blame you. Can't blame you. You're way over there. You've been on an island for a long time. Trying to put teams around you. Uconn helps. Uconn helps in travel for West Virginia. Be on board, damn it. AR, Uconn is a basketball ad who also has a football team. There you go. Whatever you get out of football from Uconn is a bonus. You are adding one of the top level, top shelf blue bloods in men's basketball. Women's basketball, that is the elite brand in all of women's collegiate sports. Any sport. That is the women's top brand, period. That is the Michael Jordan of brands in women's collegiate sports. And I keep hearing it from everyone from Endeavor, Karen from Endeavor, and many other media sources, outlets, John Oran, you name it. All these people are saying, well, hey, women's sports, especially in college, that stuff is going up, being worth more and more and more. I would like the most valuable women's sport team organization to be in the Big 12. If the stock is rising on that, and if I'm going to buy into part of that, I want the absolute biggest monster you can get to be in the Big 12. That is Uconn's women's basketball. That's how I see it. Dabo, you are thinking about the year Clemson lost to Syracuse, but Clemson's starting quarterback left the game with concussion, and the committee didn't hold that against them. That's the problem. That's the problem, Dabo. Your starting quarterback left the game with a concussion. The points don't give two shits about who left and who all that hoopla. And I don't care. Because you're playing Syracuse. You should whoop the fuck out of Syracuse regardless of who your quarterback. Your starting punter should be able to win that game for you. Your long snapper ought to be able to go in there, play quarterback, and beat Syracuse. I know Syracuse has some good seasons. And this is the point in time where Clemson is just dominating football. There was no excuse to lose to Syracuse. And like I said, the point system wouldn't have really held that against Clemson that much if the conference they played in didn't suck nuts. All right, that was their biggest problem, because when I did the point system for that year, UCF did not beat out Clemson by a ton. It wasn't by a ton. We're talking, I don't know, 10 to 15 points. You can get those points in one game. So it wasn't by a lot. But the Clemson's biggest, they could have overcome that hurdle in the point system and overtaken UCF and gotten into my top four, on just how I pay attention to things. It could have happened if anybody in that conference is worth a shit outside of Clemson. It is that where I give Clemson a lot of credit is for beating the Alabamas, for dominating the Alabamas, for just having great, outstanding national title games. As far as getting there, I was like, you're in the ACC for those years, you ought to be there, because the ACC is horrible. But to Clemson's credit, they went through the playoffs, made short work of some people, had outstanding games against Alabama. Give them all the credit in the world for that. Just that year, that weird year right there. I mean, look, shit happens. It's not like I didn't pay my electric bill over it. It's whatever. Just to me, I had UCF in there. Jeff Whitworth, Uconn only happens if no Pac teams jump ship. I don't know about that. I know people are saying that, but I think Uconn is going to happen regardless, because Brett Yormark wants it to happen. And I think Brett Yormark has been knocking home run after home run after home run. And again, I have to agree with Mr. Flugar. And by the way, he's not the only one. I heard 365 Sports say this too. You got to give Yormark his pick. You got to let him have a pick. All right. He brought you Colorado. He got you locked in with a TV deal. He's getting you all these other revenue streams and all this other shit. He's giving you nothing but wins. All right. You go ahead. If he really wants UConn, if he can set it up, if he can make it happen where it's not money coming out of everybody else's pocket, then let him have it. Let him do it. Let him do it. He's been right thus far. And if he's wrong on UConn, but how is he going to be wrong when it's a blue blood program, a championship level program on the men's and women's? and you're trying to maximize your money in basketball, and you're getting into that market. Uconn, that matters more than Rutgers in New York City. So just let him have his pick. If that's his pick, that's his one. He's earned it. If for no other reason, he's earned it. Damn it. S cards here, RP, gold and blue, dude. Absolutely. AAR. These Pac-12 teams are so nuts. Some aren't jumping. I don't think you can just jump. I think you have to, have your meetings, get ducks in a row. I think it takes more than a couple of days there, AAR. I would assume Arizona is going to jump next week, because I think they're a little further down the road than some other people. The mad scramble needs to be with Arizona State and Utah. They better be coming. They better be, okay, let's pack the bags, break down the lawnmower, put it in the shed. We got to get this thing done. AR, the golden blue dude is here in spirit. True enough. Jeff Woodworth, Fox and ESPN partnered up to create a conference for the ACC teams to go after breaking up. Pac said no, and now they're dead. Escarts here. I hope the ACC thing does happen, but I think it is going to be very complicated and painful. It's going to be complicated. It's going to be complicated. But I think it can happen. I think it'll be a controlled demolition, sir. Chris Cobb, Arizona and Arizona State will be in the Big 12 no later than Friday. At least Arizona should be. At least. AAR, nope, they get around that. They get around that by joining the SEC. Who's going to join the SEC there, AAR? Dabo Sweeney, if ACC grant of rights are broken, the Big 12 will go all in on adding Louisville, Pitt, Virginia Tech, and Duke. I got to throw in UNC in there too. I'm gonna keep hitting that nut bag over and over again with UNC. I say UNC goes to the Big 12. I'm going to keep hitting that nut bag until they get into the Big 10 or the SEC. And then I'll apologize and I'll walk away. I'm like, okay. Y'all were right. I was wrong. I was stupid. You were geniuses. I will do that all day long. Till then, nut bag. Holy shit. I am behind on these comments. My God. Y'all are very patient. I'm going to have to try to get through these too, because it's getting towards 7 o'clock here. I got to go get groceries or I'm going to get in real trouble. I buy the groceries in the house because my wife spends too damn much money. Too much money. Jeff Woodworth. Dabo, I think it will be more than that. I think the Big Two only poach for the top 3 or 3 to 4 from the ACC. I believe Jeff is correct. Been making that point for a while. AAR, because the deal rips off schools in the current market. All right, Charles M. Damn, 43 minutes late. Going to 20 is smart, Charles M. Yeah, I think they'll go more than that eventually. Not right now, but eventually. The big Lubbock. I also want Uconn. Yes, sir. Jeff Woodworth. Escarts here because they can't afford to lose them to Fox. Arturo Balderos. Bold predictions. There you go. Big Ten will extend invitation to Texas A&M and Florida in a few years. Whoa, Florida. All right. That's assuming FSU gets in the SEC. Gotcha. I see where you're coming from that. And Texas try to pull their shenanigans they pulled in the Big 12. Florida's going to be weird, but Look out for A&M in the future. Look out for A&M 2032. Charles M. LSU won the Natty in women's this year. Well, good for them. I know it's not Uconn every year there, Charles. Jeff Woodworth, 24-28 for the Big 12. Yes, but 16-18 for the other two. I do believe Big 10 get to 20, and I don't think SEC ever gets past 18. I think they'll get to 18. That's good. They're making their money. They're good. They're gone. K-Do. No more G5 until the Big 12 poach what they can from the pack. That may be correct there, K-Do. That may be correct. But UConn's coming. Get ready for it. AAR FSU Seminoles ratings similar to the SEC schools. They do get good ratings. Why do you think everyone's eyeballing the crap out of them? Dabo, Syracuse, Boston College, and Wake Forest won't get any offers for Big 3 conferences. No, but if there's a merger, once the 3 big schools leave, the ACC, the rest can merge with the Big 12. I would do it. That's how you get to 24 to 26 schools. K-Do. Hello, Ye Squad. True. The squad within the squad, the Ye Squad. Good grief. That's never going away, is it, K-Do? No, it won't. K-Do, no more G5 until next round of realignment. Don't know about that. I guess y'all are talking early 2030s when all the other things are up. But could happen. UConn's going to happen. AAR, you're going to lose in court. We'll see what happens with that. RCJH, by the way, Jeff Woodworth. I'm not sure what that means. Clemson will be in the SEC. They will. It is fate. AAR, Clemson football has same problems. True. Anthony Mazzano, hashtag mob. Hi. Well, what's up, dude? Dabo, Florida State and Clemson have offers from SEC. Something like that's going to happen. AAR, that bad deal is voided. Not the current market. Jeff Woodworth, UVA, Miami to Big 10 and maybe Notre Dame. Don't hold your breath on Notre Dame ever joining a conference. Anthony, Nom School, if let's say Florida State, Miami, and Clemson aren't able to find a way out of the grant of rights, is there a way that maybe the Big 12 and ACC can merge into one mega conference? I think that's going to happen, but it'll be a part of allowing Florida State, Clemson, and Miami out. And I just posted a video yesterday on that, Anthony. If you want to go into my videos, it's the one with Miley Cyrus on the cover, on the thumbnail. That'll explain what my thought is on that. Charles M. Visitors don't get the gate anyway. That's stupid. I love you, Charles. AAR. ACC doesn't want that merger. Oh, I think they do. I think they do. The 3 big schools don't. I think everyone else is open to it. 513 Bearcat, what's up, dude? Rutgers is bad at either sports. It is. Dabo, Duke is good at football currently, and nobody knows it. That's the problem. K-Do, I would take Duke as long as Coach K was there. I have my doubts since he retired. I got you, but that's still a giant brand. Anthony, do you think what's going to happen, let's say the big names like Miami, Florida, and Clemson have specifically only for football to other conferences, leave specifically for football, only for football to other conferences? I'm not sure what you're asking there. Escar Cheer, yeah, I would take Duke, but Duke football has been pretty good over the last 10 to 15 years to be a basketball school. it's a basketball school. I don't know what pretty good means, but I've seen some years where it wasn't really pretty good. Charles M. Duke has media viewership worse than Uconn last year. Way worse. Thank you, Charles. AAR. People on the Pac-12 are looking to the ACC for help. Who? Oregon State? Washington State? Good luck. Jeff Woodworth. I'll take Duke so we can beat them more often. There you go. That's that attitude. Charles M. Don't want to travel, won't make money. Going to have to travel in this conference. Jeff Woodworth. Track teams travel all over the country anyway. Thank you, Jeff. Anthony. Would it make sense for the ACC to move to baseball-centric conference if the football programs in Clemson, Miami, and Florida go to different conferences? No. And plus, it wouldn't be football only. Everything's going to be moving there, Anthony. They're not going to split it up. AAR, softball, baseball, volleyball, tennis, golf, swimming, etc. Yeah, it'll all be moving. Chris Cobb, God bless realignment. Pack is over, definitely. Yes, sir, it is. 513 Bearcat, Indiana sucked at football, but good at basketball. It is. Another one of those legendary brands. Jeff Woodworth, you think realignment crazy now? Wait till the next media deal cycle. I don't know, man. It's been pretty... It's still nuts. It's still going nuts. We ain't even done. There's 2024 to go. Who knows what's going to happen in that year with the ACC? Chris Cobb, Colorado belongs in the Sun Belt. Coach Prime, come on, buddy. AAR. Pitt supposedly thinks they can go Big Ten. Well, you can think in one hand and shit in the other. Daniel Hamilton, do you see the Big 12 adding the whole Big East Conference to the Big 12? I would not be opposed to a merger that way, but I doubt it. Seriously doubt it. Let's see. AAR, guarantee Virginia Tech tries the SEC or Big 10. Yeah, give them their shot. Right in their ass. Jeff Woodworth, everyone thinks they have the seat in the Big 10, but very few do right. Yeah, very few people have a seat. In the SEC, it's even a smaller amount. Glenn Lumen, I am not crazy about Uconn. They are better than Rutgers. I would add them as a sign of support for Brett. There you go. There you go. Good job. AAR. Georgia Tech, too. 513 Bearcat. Uconn replaces University of Texas men's and women's basketball. That's how you can look at it. Although I think Houston kind of replaces that. AAR, Virginia to the Big 12. Likely won't work. It may happen, though. Chris Cobb, it's 6:46 p.m. and OU and Texas still suck. Well, sorry it took me a while to get there. Robert Franz, what's up, dude? Conundrum, great show. Thank you, sir. Charles M., I said it before any of them numbskull. I got you, buddy. Great point. Uconn math works. Bring them on. There you go. AAR. Gonzaga University is still out there twisting in the winds. They are. They may have to twist a little longer, though. Chris Cobb, Coach Prime won't be in the Big 12 in a couple of years. He wants the Florida State job. I haven't heard him say that, sir, but who knows? Escar Cheer, LOL, Chris. Dabo. Nobody in New York City watches Uconn. I don't know. Ratings say otherwise. Charles M. I'd rather add SDSU and Uconn both, together with any all Pac-12 schools. Load up. I hear you. That's the wet dream. Conundrum. Arizona Press Robbins and Arizona Press Crow are BFFs. Wouldn't doubt it. Chris Cobb, just speaking the truth, those two schools definitely. AAR. Aztecs messed up their Big 12 ticket already. Maybe. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, though. Conundrum. SDSU can pull their pants up now. Jeff Woodward. Don't know if the media partners want any more G5 to jump to A5 except ESPN with Uconn. Kind of what I figure. Michael Presler, what's up, dude? Yeah, screw the tar brains. Jeff Woodworth, definitely UNC to the Big 12. Yeah, we're thinking. J Baller 54, UNC is not coming to the Big 12. Maybe not. AAR, UNC Chapel Hill will never join the Big 12 conference. They may never have a choice. We'll see how it plays out. It's all speculation at this point, including mine. Salt of the earth. Who's wearing the apron tonight? Me. Jeff Woodward. UNC will join Big 12 or have the same fate as some of these Pac teams. True. AR, not a chance. Well, we'll see. Bazoo, what's up, dude? We are headed toward a 2014 conference realignment. Disagree. There'll be one 2014 plus conference. That's the Big 12. The others, Big 10, 20. SEC, 18. J Baller 54. UNC is all in on SEC. Well, they're not all in on them. Better chance of Duke than UNC. Well, is ESPN going to pay for UNC to be all in with the SEC? Is ESPN going to pay premium money for UNC football? No. Chris Cobb, next lady up, FSU, Clemson, NCS, all in the SEC 2024, definitely. I don't know. We'll find out. Jeff Woodworth, not till we get to the replacement part of the realignment coming closer to 2030. 2030 is a ways out. Black Rain, I see San Diego fans now want to go to the Big 12 after hitching the wagon to bust up Mule. Well, everybody makes a mistake. Expect the SEC and Big 10 syndicate to each other's throats soon. Maybe. Be interesting. I'd like to see it. Dabo, we in the ACC want no part of dying Pac-12. There you go. That's good thinking. AAR Pac-12 calls for the ACC alliance. Yeah, super friends. Jeff Woodworth, Clemson FSU don't want merger. They want out. Yeah. Richard Nelson, Pac-12 wrecked the Pac-12. Come on, we helped a little bit. Yeah, Ted. ESPN helped a lot. Arturo, the ACC teams that could come to the Big 12 wouldn't exactly be considered scrubs. Louisville, Virginia Tech, Pitt, possibly Georgia Tech have history and have had success in the past. Georgia Tech is a great academic ad. True. And I think all those are realistic possibilities. Charles M. Syracuse and Pitt do both have a shot in the Big 10, if anyone does. Oh, I don't think so, Charles. You got to disagree there. Arturo, I'd prefer NC State because they have a better football fan base, but they are for sure going to the SEC. We'll see. We'll see. Donnie, wouldn't Penn State be opposed to Pitt joining the conference? Maybe. Mike Smith, wow, coming in the tail end of this one. That's all right. Nothing like a good piece of tail. Jeff Woodworth, welcome to Mike, fellow Yeasty. Greg Swain, what's up, dude? Just making sure to relay the big news. The Pac-12 still doesn't have a deal. That is big news, Greg. Thank you. 513 Bearcat. Brett Yormark has said he is going to negotiate basketball separately. The more basketball blue bloods we have, the better. Of course, after we clean Pac first. That's some good thinking. Donnie, doesn't Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, and Georgia Tech think of themselves as Southern Ivies? I guess. I guess. And we'll see where they end up. Charles M., Duke, and Wake are Southern Ivies. All right. AR, I've heard that. Charles M., the public schools listed a Southern Public Ivy, UNC, UVA, Georgia Tech, UFL, UGA. Charles M., UT Austin, Texas A&M. Maybe they're Ivy too. Who knows? Robert Road, Pac-12 should merge with the Mountain West. That could happen. Wouldn't doubt it. All right, guys, about to wrap this crap up. Charles M. I got through everybody's, though. Damn, fell way behind. I appreciate everyone being here. Pretty nice crowd today. Syracuse knocked the media ratings out of the park in 2022. Pitt was respectable. High middle of ACC. Well, I think they're both coming to the Big 12. Damn it. Mike Smith, Big 10 already have Penn and Rutgers. They don't need Pitt or Syracuse. Good point there, Mike. That's why you were born, to make good points. Jeff Woodworth, been making some good points too there, Jeff. When negotiating basketball separately, will get a lot of international value for basketball. Yes, sir. Bigfoot Duck. What's up, dude? Late getting here. Honeydew list to get done today. So I got to do mine. To the point where I don't give a flying flock where they all end up. Let's get some live football. I hear you. Jeff Woodworth, Big Ten at looking for pretty good. They are looking for cream of the crop. True. Arturo Valderas, let's end it with you, sir. Notre Dame should do a deal with the Big 12 like they have the ACC when that collapses. Thank you. It's what I've been saying. I think that's what we'll do. I think that's what we'll have eventually. This sumbitch is only started rocking and rolling, folks. Only started. You ain't seen nothing yet. I'm going to end this crap on that high note. Thank you, Arturo. Y'all have a great week. I'll be back live on Wednesday. Try to have a video out before then. We'll see what it's about. I don't even know. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.